In the stillness of the early morning, when the city's usual hustle and bustle gives way to a profound quiet, the empty streets take on an almost haunting quality. This is a time when the ordinary world seems to pause, allowing shadows to stretch longer and silence to gather thickly in the air. For a bus driver working the late-night shift, these hours are both familiar and strange, a liminal space where reality blurs with the unknown. On this particular night, around 4 a.m., there was an unshakable sense of anticipation flowing through the deserted avenues. The streetlights flickered faintly above, casting muted pools of light onto the wet pavement, and even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Into this eerie calm drove an experienced bus driver about to encounter something that would challenge all his understanding of what is real. The city, normally vibrant and noisy, had transformed into an expanse of shadow and silence, broken only by the low rumble of the bus's engine. This was the driver's final route, a passage through neighborhoods empty and still, the usual passengers long gone to their homes or beds. Yet in this calm, something felt different, an almost imperceptible charge in the air that set his nerves on edge. The night itself seemed alive, as if it knew he was about to witness something extraordinary. The driver, seasoned by years on the road but never fully prepared for the unknown, gripped the steering wheel with quiet resolve. The invisible boundary between what is seen and unseen was about to reveal itself in a way he could no longer deny. As the bus rolled steadily along its path, the driver's eyes scanned the darkness, always alert for any sign of movement. This route through the sleeping city was often uneventful, the kind of quiet shift that allowed time to flow slow and easy. But tonight, as if drawn by some unseen force, his gaze locked on a figure standing at the edge of the road. The silhouette was unnervingly still, draped in dark clothing that seemed to absorb the faint glow of the sleepy street lamps. The shape's refusal to move or look away created a dissonance against the steady motion of the bus, making it stand out starkly in the driver's field of vision. Cautiously, the driver slowed, squinting to make out any details in the dim light. The figure lacked the warmth of life. No breath visible in the frigid air, no subtle gestures or shifts that marked a human presence, only a frozen stillness that seemed utterly out of place. The rearview mirror betrayed his eyes. The seat next to him was empty. The driver's heart skipped, a cold prickle running down his spine as the unnerving truth settled in. This was no ordinary passenger waiting for a ride. He dismissed the sudden tension as exhaustion playing tricks, a ghost conjured by too many long nights behind the wheel. Yet the heavy silence that surrounded the bus pressed inward, thickening the air. The streets, which moments before had felt understandable and safe, now seemed imbued with something ancient and unresolved. The driver's thoughts raced alongside the vehicle, grappling with disbelief and mounting unease. The spectre at his side was not merely an apparition, but a presence that clung stubbornly to the margins of perception, refusing to be ignored. Behind him, the city's usual nocturnal chorus had given way to a profound hush. Even the distant hum of machinery and stray voices seemed absent, as if the night itself had folded in on itself to shield secrets from the waking world. Every instinct urged caution, yet curiosity rooted the driver to his seat. Questions flooded his mind with no answers. Who or what stood there? What message lay hidden in the ghostly stillness? It was as if time slowed under the weight of expectation, every heartbeat a deafening drum against the void. The driver's awareness expanded. He was no longer just moving through space, but crossing into a realm where the familiar laws faltered and mysteries smiled in the corners. Suddenly, a drop in temperature swept through the cabin, sharp and undeniable. The humid, stale air condensed, making breath visible in fleeting clouds. The hum of the engine dimmed, and the bus was swallowed by an enveloping quiet that felt less like absence and more like the presence of something vast and unknowable. The driver's grip tightened on the wheel. knuckles whitening as the invisible companion pressed close. This was not fear born of superstition, but the primal recognition of forces too old, too profound to put into words. The figure might never speak, might never move, yet it was alive in the language of existence, an echo from a place beyond sight, tethered to this fleeting world by threads only the bravest could see. In that charged moment, the encounter shifted from a passing strange to a transformation of perception. The driver felt the fabric of reality ripple around him, inviting him to acknowledge that the world deepens beyond surface appearances. This was a moment of revelation, where skepticism bowed before the weight of experience. The figure, though silent and still, became an unexpected guide into mysteries long hidden by daylight and routine. The driver's journey was no longer measured in miles, but in the opening of the soul to the unseen and the eternal. After several moments lost in contemplation and growing unease, the driver chose to stop the bus, hoping that a break in motion might clarify his muddled senses. Fog drifted slowly, curling in delicate strands across the dimly lit street, weaving an ethereal curtain that made the world feel suspended between reality and dream. This stretch of road was familiar, but now transformed into a stage for untold stories whispered among local lore and urban legend. Residents had long spoken of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena clustering in this forgotten corner of the city, tales passed down as warnings or curiosities. The presence that haunted the driver belonged to this lineage, not merely a singular event, but a thread woven through community memories and collective fears. The boundary between myth and memory blurred fittingly in the cool mist. Silence absolutely dominated the scene. No stray sound nor distant vehicle disturbed the oppressive stillness. The air was thick and biting, settling on skin and bone, demanding attention through its weight. The driver experienced a visceral tension, an awareness that the landscape concealed layers of hidden truths beyond the eye's reach. Rational explanations faltered. No wind, no animals, no human movement, yet sensations unaccounted for stirred uneasily. Efforts to attribute this to exhaustion or imagination felt shallow in the face of such tangible presence. His instincts insisted the mystery was itself real, breathing invisibly into that cold, quiet world. Nearby street lamps flickered, humming faintly as if possessed by ghostly hands. Inside the bus, small vibrations and creaks echoed unpredictably, imbuing the metal shell with unsettling signs of life. The driver was not alone in this. Other night workers had shared chilling accounts about the route, recounting brushes with shadows or sudden chills where no cause was apparent. This shared experience suggested the location harbored something that stretched beyond personal hallucination or coincidence. The invisible intrigue clung to the air, visible only to those willing to look with suspended disbelief. Communal narratives layered over the night, thickening the fabric of this haunting. What disturbed him most was the profound vulnerability these moments revealed, a raw exposure to forces beyond comprehension. The encounter challenged the boundary between observer and participant, external reality and internal psyche. Doubt thawed into respect and fascination with the nocturnal unknown. The driver's inner conflict unfolded in quiet contemplation, as stark as the night itself, a mind wrestling to reconcile the seen and unseen, belief and disbelief. It was a personal transformation forged in silence, illuminating new corridors of thought about what exists beyond the edge of understanding. Restarting the engine, the driver sat with his eyes flickering between reflections and the dark road ahead. He could no longer unsee the figure or unfeel the chill. The encounter had altered the lens through which he viewed his world. No longer merely a collector of passengers or hours, he had become a witness to realms that brushed against ordinary life like ghosts at the window. This realization seeded new meanings, journeys now balanced on the precipice of both physical distance and spiritual exploration. Though the miles dwindled, a profound voyage stretched infinitely within, as vast and haunting as the night itself. The fullness of that extraordinary night culminated in a crossing from mere witness to seeker. The driver felt compelled to confront the mystery beyond sight, not to dispel fear, but to glean understanding. He left the safety of his bus and stepped into the fog-filled street, each footstep amplifying the unnatural stillness around him. The spot where the figure had lingered was now devoid of form, only moonlight casting long, trembling shadows into the ether. Though the presence had vanished, its essence hovered palpably, like a silent message passed between worlds. The driver's mind hungered for meaning, but no easy answers came. Instead, he accepted the existence of a vast, unseen network of forces threading through our waking hours, forces humbling in their mystery and majesty. Once returned to the vehicle, the atmosphere inside felt mysteriously charged, as though that silent visitor still accompanied him, invisibly. A whisper brushed through the cabin, gentle and soothing, inviting him to trust that some secrets need not be fully revealed to be understood. The figure transcended physicality, becoming symbol and sign, a messenger linking the living to realms beyond perception, where time and space fold and overlap. The driver continued his weary journey, his outward routine masking a deep inner awakening that forever changed the nature of his travels. What began as a singular moment evolved into a lasting communion with the mysteries enveloping human existence. This newly wrought awareness infused the dark stretches of his route with sacredness and fragility. The night, once merely a backdrop for endings and departures, became a living passageway, a rite of silent transformation. Shadows no longer just concealed dangers, but also cradled revelations. The driver carried this hushed reverence like a talisman, a keeper of liminal truths discovered beneath the waning moon and flickering stars. The mysterious figure, once a source of unease, had grown into a protective enigma, a reminder that unseen paths weave through our lives at the edges of perception. Today, that driver's experience is told less as frightening encounter than as a meditation on how limited human senses truly are. The quiet hours he once regarded as merely difficult shifts now strike him as moments brimming with unseen life and meaning. His world enlarged to include the possibility that invisible energies and memories populate the spaces we think empty, intertwining with daily existence in ways both subtle and profound. The city around him reveals itself as a web of stories, presences, and shadows layered beneath its bustling surface. His tale is one of opening eyes to the hidden poetry and haunting beauty of the night. Though never plainly understood or explained, that episode remains cloaked in mystery, an ineffable presence granting it power and significance. The image of that ghostly figure does not provoke terror, but commands a respectful awe for the unknown forces that brush just beyond our worldly grasp. It marks a threshold between the seen and unseen, where the barren hush of early morning joins eternity with fleeting time. In this delicate space, the driver's story endures as a quiet testament to the fragile and wondrous dance of light and dark, reality and myth, familiarity and the vast unknown.